Okay, what's good, y'all? Good morning if it's morning where you are. Good evening if it's evening where you are. Joni, are you on the stage with me right now? What's up?
I'm here. I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, yes you are. Hello,
Thank
everybody.
God you got the tunes on.
Huh. Yo, I fired up my computer, getting ready for the tunes so that we can, welcome everybody with some good music. Spotify was not opening. My Google Chrome wasn't opening, so I had to play the only song on my iTunes. That was that first song. It's a good song, but not
At
really
least it's a good one.
not 10 a.m. vibe. But shout out, that's by a guy named Grifter, Asian producer. Shout out. But hey, we have to get the T Pain in there. Good morning, everybody. If it's morning where you are, good afternoon if it's afternoon where you are, and so to speak for the rest of the days and the times of the day. We are joined by Stakefish today. If you are here on this Twitter Spaces, it's because you're interested in working in Web3 to find a career in Web3, and who better to do that with and figure that out with than Bankless and your two hosts today. I am Michael Wong, and I'm joined by Joni Cusack. We're in the cut today, joined by folks from, like I said, the Stakefish team. Let me get some of these folks on the stage. Oh, I already got. Oh, I see you working on it, Joni. Thank you so much. I'm finna go to the Stakefish profile real quick and pin some of these tweets. In the meantime, my friends, because I know you're sitting at your computer, you got your AirPod in because you're at work right now. Thank you. We're gonna find you a new job. All right. In the meantime, I want you to go to bankless.cc/jobs. Bankless.cc/jobs. You're going to see the Stakefish jobs right there at the top. I'm also going to post some of them here in the tweets. Um, Once informed, let me get started here, Joni. We have these. This is our third Twitter Spaces where we want to help the Bankless Nation figure out what it means to find a career in crypto. All right. I know what you guys are thinking. It was, a few months ago, things were running hot. Man, I'm going to go full time in crypto. Now things are not running as hot and you want to buy more crypto, right? I want you to do that too. So let's get you a job potentially here at Stakefish. So we got a few of our friends from Stakefish here. We got Daniel Hwang, my boy. We got, let's see, Grecia's here as well. Are we bringing Ben on? I don't know yet. But let's see. Anybody from Stakefish want to quickly say hi and say what up to the Bengals Nation?
Hello, it's Daniel. I think Yi is also should be led up too. He's
Bet.
our engineering head.
I got you. We'll make that happen. Cool, thank you. I'm posting this to the tweets right now. 1 second. Boom. Hey guys, if you have questions about careers, we're also going to have an opportunity for you to come up and chat with the Stakefish team who is hiring right now for non-technical and technical roles. You're going to have a chance to make your case too, guys. Like, why not? I'll help you. I'll wingman you today. Hey, lock in, get a pen and paper, get your notes app out. We're going to talk about how to get a role, how to get hired, how to stand out in Web3, even if you've never had a role in Web3 before. Did we get Leon? I'm going to get Leon.
I think we have everyone on.
That
If you're supposed to be a speaker, you can request, but I think everyone's here and we have a full panel today. We're hearing from a lot of people, which is awesome. You're going to get firsthand insight into what it's actually like to work at Stakefish. You can ask all your questions, and we're super excited, especially because they are a remote and global company, meaning that everyone is included in this. So
Look at that.
You are not hindered by where you live to apply for these jobs.
Technical, non-technical jobs. All right, Stakefish, someone say what's up to the Bankless Nation. We'd love to say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Big talkers, guys. A lot of energy from the Stakefish team today. What's up, Ben? Say hi.
Sorry, guys. Good morning, afternoon, all. This is James DeMory. I head up on the institutional side of BD. Looking forward to chatting with everyone here today and excited to see that everyone is interested in the Web3 space. It is the place to be.
Hell yeah. There you go, James. All right. What's up, Grecia? Am I saying that right? You don't need to speak if you don't want to, but hello.
Yeah. You pronounce it really, really good. Hello,
Beautiful.
everyone. Welcome.
Super. Ben, we saw your little wave. Thank you, sir. Stakefish team, hello. If you're on the Twitter Spaces right now, go click on the little Stakefish logo. We're about to dive in. James, Jim, you wanna give us a little scoop? Give the Bankless Nation a scoop on what makes and why Stakefish is growing like hell right now.
Oh man, that is a great question. So Stakefish is growing like crazy because we're just at this amazing inflection point in the industry, right? In the past there was mining, or proof of work, proof of stake became a big conversation. But what's happening is we're starting to see things like the Celsius issue and Three Arrows Company, and people are starting to realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't be keeping my assets on an exchange or on somebody else's wallet. And what's so unique about Stakefish is we are a non-custodial staking platform. So when you talk about security, when you talk about safety of your assets, there are very few places to stake without handing over custody of your actual tokens and assets. So we are growing like crazy because we've become essentially the only real way to stake, in my opinion, of course. I'm a little biased, but we're the only real way to stake. I personally will not leave my assets on anywhere other than my ledger, and then I stake them with Stakefish. So it's really exciting to be a part of something like this, but there's plenty of more that makes this company unique outside of just being the largest non-custodial staking platform available.
Dang. So okay, it's you're speaking the Bankless Nation language right now, Jim, and we appreciate that. Of course, everybody has all eyes on ETH right now, all eyes on the merge, and of course, all eyes on protecting and self custody, I should say. So if I'm correct, like people think about when they think about staking solutions, they're thinking about Lido, they're thinking about Ripple or Rocket Pool. Stakefish is your own. You're custodying your own assets while you're staking. Is that correct?
That is correct. You still own your private keys.
Wow, great. Okay, and did I hear that right, Jim? That you are the head of engineering at Stakefish?
Oh man, I would have to
Wrong
be much
person.
smarter to be that. I'm head of institutional sales. So
Okay, I got you.
I'm just the guy that talks a lot.
No, we appreciate that. We need talkers today, so thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. On your open roles, I don't know if you could or who wants to speak to these open roles at Stakefish. I'm looking at technical, non-technical roles. I'm looking at number of engineering roles, and of course, the crypto runs on engineers. We also got a blockchain marketer role. Of course, is a non-technical role and probably something that a lot of people have adjacent experience with. So, does anybody from the Stakefish team want to talk about some of these open roles? Why you guys are hiring for engineers and marketers right now, etc.
Absolutely. I would love to speak on that. It's Ben here. I am on the recruitment team at Stakefish. I was dying to speak. You played that music to begin with, Michael, and got me pumped up, but then I couldn't join as a speaker. So
I knew you would like it, and I'm so glad you're a speaker now, Ben. Hello, welcome. You sound like you're not from where Jim's from. Is that true?
I am usually based in the UK, just south of London. However,
Right.
I am currently in Turkey, in Bodrum specifically. So,
Oh, my boy is eating kebab like it's crazy out there. Okay, listen, guys. What you just heard is that the Stakefish team is well distributed. They're all over the place. So if you're somewhere who outside the bounds of where you think you should be working, it's not true. You just heard it from here. All right, Ben. Let's talk about some of these open roles.
Absolutely, yeah. And Michael, Joni, thank you so much for having us here. Super pumped. Open roles, yeah. We are obviously always looking for talented engineers. So this can be front end, back end, people working across the stack. Excuse me, our infrastructure team hiring DevOps engineers as well. Tech stack wise, I can talk a bit about the tech stack, but engineers across the board. So
let me set you up with this one. Because I know a lot of people are thinking this right now. And by the way, y'all, if you have a question, please DM me. I have the little squiggle, MW squiggle. You can DM me. I'll ask this question. I'm trying to ask questions on your behalf right now. So Ben, real quick, you're hiring for. I'm reading this right now. Front end software engineers, full stack software engineers, back end DevOps, smart contract software engineers. I have a lot of people in my DMs who are engineers. They work at maybe Web 2 companies. They don't have. I mean, they're Bankless listeners. They're excited about Ethereum. They just have no work experience with engineering in crypto. So can you speak to those people right now? I know a number of them are listening to this over the recording. I'm talking to engineers right now who don't have blockchain experience or crypto experience necessarily on work, but are passionate about it and can code. What do you have to say about those people who are potential applicants?
Absolutely, crypto experience definitely not essential. I was just mentioning there, we look for talented engineers across the board. So regardless of whether you're working in a Web3 company now or you've never worked in crypto, we would always consider talented people. But that being said, we always look for people that are genuinely passionate about what we do. I think, it's very hard to keep up with the speed in which this industry moves at if you're not genuinely interested. So, we definitely prioritize that, showing interest. We love people that are building cool projects as well. So if you haven't worked at a crypto company in the past, but you're running a project or you're writing blog articles, talking about news, creating YouTube videos, we love to see that. That is proof of genuine interest in the space. So to summarize and answer your question, Michael, absolutely not. No prior experience is needed in the space.
That's exciting. Like, okay, but by the way, Ben, I think you would agree, and a number of your team members would agree. If you are a Bankless subscriber, if you're someone who is on the timeline and you're deep and like every day you're hunter gathering information about crypto on your timeline, yo, you have crypto experience. I don't know what you think that counts for or doesn't count for. It absolutely does count. Like, you being able to speak the language, being able to understand why stakefish is different than any of the other players in the space and why they're important. You have the experience, guys. So don't be scared, and make your case for that. How does somebody make their case for, like, hey, I've never worked in crypto, but I want you to know that I get it, Ben, like, or anybody on your stakefish team? Like, how can someone make their case for letting you know that they're interested in crypto, even if they don't have the experience on the resume?
Yeah, so again, build and contribute, create cool projects, write content, work on cool things independently, not as a paid professional or a paid gig type of role. We're often filtering and talking to people that aren't even sending us resumes. If people are sending us their Twitter handles and a couple of cool projects they've built, I would most of the team would more than happily take a conversation with anyone like that. It's a very different environment. We're not specifically looking for a great resume. We're looking for talented people interested in building cool things.
Punctuate that. You listening, guys? You don't need a hot resume. If you like, oh God, once I get this resume together, I'm gonna apply to Stakefish. Nah, bro, because there's people in Ben's DM right now talking about, hey, I just heard you say that thing on the Spaces. Can I get some 20 minutes with you? That's crypto networking, if you ask me, bro. Like, we don't wear suits and go into some conference center and have a little mixers. No, it's like places like this where you can meet Ben and hop in and raise your hand. So make sure you're doing that. It's not about your resumes. Ben, I want to ask anybody else on the team also. Definitely want to get Grecia and Daniel in here too. Like, let's talk about the distribution of your team. I think one of the really cool hallmarks of not only crypto, not only Stakefish, but crypto at large, is that the teams can be distributed, they can be global, but also I don't necessarily know how that works. Can we talk about that a little bit? Like, what does it mean to, be in Turkey, but be based in the UK, but also maybe you're working with people in Africa and America? Like, what are the challenges and how do you guys get over those as a well-distributed team?
Yeah, I'd definitely love to pull some of the other team members up to speak on this as well, because we've got Grecia, who's in Mexico right now. We've got Yi, who's in Palo Alto in California. We've got team members from all over the world on this call right now. But just in terms of how we work, our calls are often working in alternate time zones, for example. So if we have a weekly update call, we'll also run the same call 12 hours later for people on the other side of the world that want to tune in. A lot of it via Slack. So we're always chatting on Slack. People are picking up messages when they're awake, dropping off when they go to sleep, etc., etc. But we've been a fully remote company from the start. So, Stakefish was founded back in around 2018 time, and we've always been fully remote. So we have team members from all over the world, and we're very well equipped to deal with this new world and deal with a fully remote workforce. So, would love, Grecia,
Awesome.
to see your hand up. Jump on.
Hey, thanks, Ben. Yeah, so as Ben mentioned, I am Mexican. I'm based in Mexico City. And I think that working for a global company is actually one of our strongest qualities as a company. From the marketing perspective, I didn't mention that I'm working in the blockchain marketers team. So from the marketing perspective, I think like we need to find a way to grow our community globally, but also we need to learn how to think and act locally. So this is why working with people from different cultures, it's very powerful. And I personally also enjoy interacting with people from different countries. So for me, like this is one of the greatest things for working at Stakefish. And with regards to time zones, when I joined Stakefish, I thought it would be like very complicated to manage teams working like on different countries and to manage team meetings. But as Ben mentioned, we have like all the necessary tools to work remotely in different time zones. And all of our team leaders do a great job designing how we operate so that you don't miss any like all hands meeting or anything. So yeah, actually, it's not really like a challenge.
Yeah, and I'll even add here, guys, who the hell wants to work in an office anymore?
No, not me, bro. Not me.
I mean, really, do you guys want to hear someone, eating crunchy chips next to you and just being annoyed the entire day, or listen to someone's drama at home? Absolutely not. I think actually working remotely like this, I mean, it drives way more efficiency in the workday. And like my team said, it is very well done the way we get things done here, whether it's a Slack channel, whether it's email. The whole team's working all times of the day because we're so distributed, so we can consistently get things done regardless of what time it is.
Hell yeah, Jim. Thank you. Where's Jim in? Where are you based in, Jim?
I'm in Chicago.
Oh, see, that's crazy. This team is all over the place.
One thing too, Michael, that's really cool, and you guys should talk about is that you really prioritize the culture. Even though you guys are a remote company, you prioritize team retreats. You guys can talk about a little bit about maybe that house you rented in Palm Springs, which I think is a really important thing to highlight, because it's, of course, you guys are remote, but it doesn't mean that you don't have like coworkers that you're interacting with.
Yeah, so I just got this note. So we have team members in Dubai, Korea, US, Mexico, Thailand, Italy. Our founder lives all over the damn world. And yeah, we do. We do prioritize events. The Consensus Conference, which was held in Austin this year, was amazing. There were about 14 of us down there, I believe. We had a great time. Actually, some of the team members went to a Burning Man type concert together, sponsored by Stakefish. So it's quite an amazing place to work, and you will never feel like you're just on an island.
Just to add on that, conferences, we went to ETH Denver, obviously the consensus event that James mentioned. We went to the Solana event in Portugal, Crypto Mainnet event New York, Bitcoin Miami. So all over the world. We had a house rented in California, which loads of the team members flew out from all different locations at different times and just all met up at this big house we rented in California. So that was cool. We've got quite a lot of the team actually flying out to Svalbard, which is Longyearbyen, Svalbard, which is the northernmost town in the world. So the North Pole, which is where our CEO Chun is currently located. So we've got a load of the team flying out to Svalbard to meet up with Chun and work from a house and get a load done. So loads of opportunities to meet in person as well as sort of working remotely.
Michael, are you about to go work at Stakefish?
Bruh, I'm excited to visit some of these Stakefish opportunities for sure. I'm at work right now, so I can't on this call, so I can't say that.
You.
But
send me an email, Michael. It's ben@stake.fish.
This guy. I appreciate that, Ben. Thank you, sir. I am definitely more excited than ever about what's going on at Stakefish. And if you're thinking about working in crypto and you're like, yo, I just saw Coinbase lay off whatever 7%, 20% of their people. It's companies like Stakefish are still fucking growing, and you should be excited about it. So tap into this pin tweet. Their jobs are right there. Stakefish jobs. You can also go to bankless.cc/jobs. 5 jobs posted here. And if you have questions about these roles or working at Stakefish or working Web3, you need to DM me right now, the talking squiggle in the chat, and I'll make sure you get your questions answered. I want to hear from Yi real quick. If I remember correctly, Yi works with the engineers on the team. and we heard this from Ben, who was from the recruiting. I just want to get some more color from Yi. Like, what's the vibe on, how do you get people into your engineering team? How do you scale them up, even if they're not, full up on smart contracts, full up on Web3 coding yet? Like, get them comfortable. There's a number of engineers on this call listening to this right now who are scared to like leave their Web2 jobs and come join Stakefish, even though they really want to do that. Let's get them comfortable. Talk to me about how you get adjacent engineers indoctrinated into what's going on on your org.
Sure, sure. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, baby.
Okay, so basically, Web3 and I would say blockchain Web3 is a relatively new field. It doesn't work like Web2 where you put on your resume like 8 years of Java experience. It doesn't work that way. If you tell people you have 8 years of experience developing like Ethereum smart contracts, like people will laugh at you because the field is so new. So it's expected that we're actually looking for just good engineers in general, like people who are fast learners, engineering fundamentals, but we're not looking for people with like a very long, like many years of experience, for example, working with blockchains and smart contracts. It's exactly because the field is so new. So as an engineer, you really don't have to worry about you need a lot of experience in this field in order to actually work for Stakefish. And in contrast, actually, because this field is new and it moves so fast, if you look at, let's say, smart contracts from 3 years ago and smart contracts from today, the technology changes so fast. It's actually better to, I would say, to be open-minded as opposed to being like calling like ourselves experienced smart contract developers. We tend to hire, we want to hire people who are open to learning, who's constantly like reading about new technology and new developments in this field. And that's what we look for our interview process. So we actually actively look for like Web2 developers who are just great engineers in general, and to join us at Stakefish to work on blockchains and Web3. I don't know if that answers your questions or help
Definitely
people
does.
understand that. Yeah.
You
Okay.
did you hear the alpha that Yi just dropped, guys? I need to bookmark this one for you. He said, "Oh, my question was like, hey, how can an adjacent engineer like hand raise that says like I'm gonna be comfortable jumping into Web3 coding with you guys?" Excuse me. One thing I'm gonna try and do for everybody on this call listening is like give you the nuggets. I'm like, okay, this is how I stand out when I'm trying to get hired at any of these jobs that are available in Web3. Yi just said, if you're an engineer, and that probably applies, Ben's probably going to agree, this probably applies to other people too. When you're applying, people are like, okay, what the hell's a cover letter? Bro, Yi said, just tell me what you're reading right now. Tell me what you're interested in right now. You don't need to say, hey, look, here's my GitHub repo with all the smart contract work I've done on the ERC 721 standard. Nah, bro. You say, look, I've been coding this. I do front end at this startup. And this is my favorite podcast that I've been interested in because I'm interested in these type of concepts that they're talking about. I don't know anything about MEV, but that shit is exciting to me, and here's why. Bro, you don't think he's gonna I email you that you're gonna email me back? He's nodding his head right now. Okay, so yes, when you email these people, let them know what you're thinking about. Let them know what you're interested in, and I guarantee you're going to be better off than someone who's trying to tentatively make a case on like I'm Web2, but I'm interested in this for these reasons. Ben, do you have anything to say about that?
Couldn't agree more, Michael.
Dang.
I've explained sort of like the consensus mechanisms to people on first introduction calls. Like I've had a conversation with them, explained proof of work, proof of stake, and then by the time we get to a second call, they've come back with a load of knowledge and a load of information that they've gone and independently researched after I've given them some topics. And like I love to see that more than someone who's got an amazing resume, because you're coming, you're showing interest, you're showing passion, you've gone away, you've done a load of research, and you come back with some great information. So yeah, I've definitely had those situations.
Look at that. Look at that. If you come back curious as hell, teams are gonna want to hire you in crypto. Curiosity pays off, I think, in this space. Daniel, what's up, baby?
Yeah, I think a lot of what Yi and Ben and Grecia and Jim were saying is great. I think there's also a really great spot for people at the Stakefish team who are sort of really deep into the thick of it, specifically if they've done really good deep dives into specific protocols. So my team, right, I had the protocols team at Stakefish. And a lot of what we do is particularly focus on a lot of these initiatives and these ecosystems per chain that we support, as well as the governance that we're trying to use to guide some of these ecosystems in the directions that a lot of our delegators, as well as us, believe it should go into. So, just as there is a spot for people who are quite new, there's definitely roles available for people who are really like to get their hands dirty into some of the governance aspects, some of the more ideological concepts that people are coming back to for crypto, especially when we get into a lot of like these principles that we try to uphold as a validator, namely the decentralization aspects, self-sovereignty, censorship resistance, immutability. Because I think at the end of the day, the roles that do exist in these crypto ecosystems, let's say the three in POS, for the stakers slash delegators, the infrastructure service providers like ourselves, and the foundations that have kind of built these chains, they all do need to interact in some way, and we are trying to play our part with that. Even though validators have many, many different networks we support, some are often pretty broad. The Cosmos ecosystem and the Polkadot ecosystems, right, have a lot of different. Polkadot has a lot of different parachains. Cosmos has a lot of different chains that are built using the Cosmos SDK and are interoperable through IBC. But yeah, you can come in with knowledge on Polygon or something specific. So there's a place for both depth and generality.
I appreciate that, Daniel. So I don't want to make it seem like Stakefish is only hiring people who are adjacent to the game. They also have deep knowledge experts. I mean, if you just picked up what Daniel was laying down, there's some pretty important problems that they're trying to solve across different chains too. So if you're not just an Ethereum head, if you're curious about other chains and excited about other scaling solutions for Ethereum, even Stakefish has a home for you guys. And I'm even what Daniel just said is like, yo, if you're just interested and like somewhat deep in some of these knowledges, like if the role isn't even available, you should still reach out to these folks. Let them know you're like put yourself on their radar, DM them, follow them, let them know who you are. We're only growing now. I mean, companies, it's wild when we have these Twitter spaces. And these companies are hiring in the face of like Gemini and Coinbase not hiring. It's very, very, very bullish for me on DeFi, right? So keep close to these people that you hear on these spaces because you probably might find an opportunity to work with them one day.
And also, Michael, one thing to add is that they are hiring beyond, and we're going to add more roles continuously as these are filled. But it's not just these 5 roles that are on the board. They're hiring for positions beyond that. And I wondered if some of you guys could talk about the non-technical. I know you guys are hiring for a marketing role. If someone wants to speak to that, because I know we do have some people looking for some non-technical gigs on here.
Grecia, maybe you'd be Grecia or Ben. Like I know Grecia works on the marketing team, so
Happy to jump in. Just to second what you said, Joni, we're hiring across all departments. So, HR, people operations, BD, marketing, engineering, infrastructure, protocol, Daniel's protocol team. So we are always hiring talented people. We have a senior marketing role open at the moment. So, someone that's got great growth marketing experience, super creative, has some experience managing a team that can essentially work hand in hand with our CMO. DevOps engineers, obviously the technical roles that we spoke about, but we would always consider talented people. Like Joni said, just reach out, or Michael said, reach out if you feel that there is some potential to collaborate with Stakefish. Please do reach out. You can send me an email, ben@stake.fish. We are always hiring talented people.
Thank you, Ben. If Gretchen doesn't have anything to say about that, she can chime in if whenever she's ready. I have a quick question for Jim from my DMs. Rick, this guy's name is Luna Rick Crypto. So I'm guessing bro really does need a job right now. He says, I'm dying to get a job in Web3. My experience is mainly facing customers, customer facing and sales. So this is what I'm directing it to Jim. Finding it hard, finding remote work, just work in Canada. So I started learning how to code to eventually learn Solidity. Any advice to someone who really wants to join Web3 sooner rather than later with this experience? So just to recap that, this person's experience is with customer facing generally, sales, maybe relationships. Maybe you're on this call right now. That sounds like you. He's trying to learn how to code. And maybe we'll regurgitate some of these things we already said. But like this person wants to know, how did you get a job in Web3 sooner rather than later with some experience like that?
So from my standpoint, what I would say is, make sure you're digging into what you want to do. So the coding is nice and the development is nice. I mean, that's all a great skill to have no matter what. Obviously, it helps you talk tech when you're customer facing. But if you want to get into sales or customer service or, customer facing roles, make sure you're concentrating on that and putting your time towards that. So when you go in for these discussions and these interviews, make sure you're framing it how you would support the customer, how you would bring on new customers, how you would drive new revenue, and how your experience in the space makes you the best candidate for that type of a role. Like we said earlier, you don't have to have some specific experience. I'll tell you, a lot of what we bring on here from the sales side is it's personality, it's attitude. It's, are you going to be able to work in a remote environment? Are you going to be able to kick ass and really dig into all these different opportunities we have? Because remember, everyone is calling us right now. Exchanges, custodians, funds, all of it. There is an unlimited set of potential here. So it's really that mindset you want to take on. Some of the larger companies, like what I'll tell you is I've been in this space for a few years now. Coinbase wouldn't even take a look at me. Neither would Binance. And thank goodness they didn't, because I'm much happier working with the team here at Stakefish and actually making a difference and playing a bigger part of a smaller company.
Hell yeah, Jim. Thank you. Hopefully, Luna Rick, that helps you get some color. I really like that advice. I'm gonna double tap it. Hone in on what you want to do. Okay. Like really, it sounds like if your experience was with customer facing and relationships, but you are trying to learn how to code because you want to learn Solidity, like which one is it? Right? Like and try and lean into the one that you feel like is gonna serve you the most or serve the org the most even. Right? Because trying to do all of those things, it's a lot more rewarding to full ass one thing than have as a bunch of things. So great. Let's see. Any more questions in my DMs? Otherwise, we will go back talking about non-technical roles. Cool. So you guys said your whole company is on Slack. I bet that it's quite annoying to get the Slack notifications all the time, all day throughout the day. What are some pros and cons I should say? Let me ask this in a more positive way. Like, what are the biggest pros? And I'd like to hear from everybody, like working with as many different people on the Stakefish team as possible. Also, I'm sure it comes with some cons. We'll chat about those in a little bit. But like, what are some of the biggest W's? Stuff that people wouldn't consider, that work at like a 9 to 5 right now. Like, what are the biggest, aha moments or cool things that happen, serendipitous things because you guys are such a distributed team?
I'd say there's always progress being made. Like regardless of whether you're online or you're offline, someone's always working. I think someone mentioned this earlier in the call, but I think you can work on your own time zone. You manage your own time. It's very you're not micromanaged to any degree. No one's watching over your shoulder. As long as you're providing value and doing what you should be doing, no one is asking any questions. So work on your own time. Obviously, communicate. You can jump online, chat with someone at any point. There's always going to be someone online to answer questions or just bang some heads together, come up with some ideas. Notifications all of the time. You have with Slack, there are so many features, that you have the opportunity to mute your notifications. I often put my available time on Slack as to when I am actually available and when I'm online. So if it goes past that notifications and people can see that, I welcome people to send me messages anyway, because all I'm going to do is then pick that up when I'm back online. But there's no desire need. Sometimes people say it's hard to balance your home life and your work life, but I feel like you are in more control. If you're at the office, there's no opportunity to quickly, go and say hello to your partner or make yourself a drink or not a lot of flexibility at the office. But when you're working from home, communicating on Slack, you really do run your day and you sort of pick and choose when you do respond to people. Again, assuming you are providing value and doing what you should be doing.
Yeah, no one could see you make a drink at 11 a.m. when you work from home.
It's 5 p.m. somewhere on Slack. That's no doubt.
Yeah, like I have also a couple points here. Like I think for engineering, this is particularly nice because let's say like my experience with I worked for Twitter before, and before like if something is broken, because our team was mostly in San Francisco, and if something's broken at night in San Francisco time, and we would get woken up. And Stakefish, because we have a distributed team, like if a support ticket comes in, something is broken, there's pretty much always some engineer that's awake to handle the case, which means like for people in general, like you can have peaceful nights, someone else is taking care of problems if they arise. So for the engineering team, this is really nice. And also the other thing I enjoy is like a diverse, like basically diverse perspectives. One thing I found really nice is I enjoy talking to people from all over the world. And like one example I can bring up was when the Russian and Ukraine conflict happened. Really, like the news, I was hearing like news sources that are conflicting with each other. I see like US news and like basically different news sources from different countries were like telling different stories. But we had employees actually living on the near the Russian and Ukraine border where we can chat with them about stories, like firsthand stories, what's going on. And I found that really like basically these perspectives that you just can't hear from news sources or from regular companies that's like, for example, all based in Silicon Valley. You just can't get these perspectives, and I really enjoyed that.
That's badass. Thank you, Yi. This is the part that I'm like, if you're tapping into like which Web3 company is right for me, listen to what these people have to say about what it's like to work there, like culture wise, right? Like what the Slack vibe is like. Already, some of you are like, "Nah, I'm never gonna work at Stakefish because they use Slack, not Discord." Can somebody talk about that? Who chose Slack? No, nobody wants to take credit for that one. I don't blame you. Somebody that's not on this call chose Slack. I get it. They'll get to Discord eventually, y'all. Trust me. I believe it in my heart. One thing real quick, I pinned the tweet. I need you to see it. If you're on the Twitter space right now, go scroll up and look at the first pin tweet here. First time applying for a role in blockchain. Read this article to help you with your first steps. This is by Stakefish, guys. You're trying to get hired in Stakefish, and you're on the Stakefish Twitter space. Listen to the people that work there tell you how to get a job, and then there's this article that also was written to help you get a job at Stakefish. Bruh, don't fail this. Don't fumble this bag. Hit the pin tweet. Read the article. This is how you get a job in Web3, especially at Stakefish. All right. Let's see. I want to ask, and I want to get everybody's opinion on the team. I want to hear what you were doing before Web3, and I don't know if Stakefish was your first Web3 job, and then I want to hear like why you would never go back. This is for everybody that's listening that's on the fence about getting a career in Web3. They were just like all of us at one time. Now, of course, we're all knee deep, and I know I would never go back. So maybe I know Jim probably has a good answer for this. Let's start with Jim. What were you doing before, Web3 at all, Stakefish, and then why would you never go back to doing, Web2 or outside of Web3 jobs?
So I've been in tech sales basically for my entire career, and then dabbled in, mining and crypto for the past 4 or 5 years as more of a hobby. Um, and you know what? About 2 years ago, I just got tired of the corporate bullshit. You get typecast in your role. There's nowhere to move. There's nowhere to go up. You don't get a raise unless you threaten to quit. There's all this silly political crap. And it really loses that feeling of, you're working together as a team to drive something positive, to drive something great. This is not my first Web3 role. I've had a couple prior to this, but this is by far my favorite one, simply because the team is great. We know how to truly work in a Web3 environment, in a decentralized environment. And you know what? There's really no bullshit here. Everyone is pretty straightforward. You ask a question, you're going to get an answer, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And we all hold each other accountable. You don't need any of that BS that surrounds corporate America or the corporate world to accomplish this, to be successful. I will absolutely, hands down, never go back to corporate America.
Hell yeah, baby. Me neither. Great answer. Thank you. Grecia, you still here? I would love to hear your answer on this, miss.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. Well, so to me, it was the same as Jim. Before joining Web3 roles, I was working for like a very corporate companies. And then I started to work for Web3. And I think like what I like the most is that I'm a person who enjoys traveling and moving a lot. So for me, the fact to be able to work remotely, it's like very important for like my personal goals. And I was also very tired of corporate industries. Um, Also, I feel like in the Web3 industry, like all these opportunities for women on this industry, it's like bigger and better than in comparison to more traditional industries. So this is why I really like blockchain industry and crypto industry. And it wasn't my first Web3 role neither. Before joining Stakefish, I was working for one of the largest crypto exchanges in the industry. And I decided to join Stakefish also because I think like these big exchanges also tend to be like super corporate. And I believe that Stakefish, even if it's not like startup per se, maintains this structure where what you do really has an impact in your professional career. So yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Grecia. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and Grecia, you actually just brought up probably my favorite point about this whole Web3 world is when you go to these companies and when you go to these conferences, nothing matters outside of the topic. So no one gives a shit if you're 18 years old or 60, right? We all talk to each other with respect and equality. There are men, women, and or whatever it is now in 2022, and no one cares. No one judges. People wear crazy shit. People wear suits. People wear shorts and t-shirts. No one judges. There's no talk of religion. There's no talk of politics. We're literally just a giant community of people working together to drive the future. And it's incredibly beautiful to see and to be a part of because, man, all that bullshit is what drags us down and just, makes things difficult. So the whole industry is like this. And if you're not in Web3 now, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Bang. Yi, Ben, let's get your answers in on this. What were you doing before Web3 and why would you never go back?
I worked for Twitter before Stakefish and joining Web3. What got me into Web3 is mostly curiosity. Is my microphone working correctly?
Yeah, you sound so good. Like you could be on a podcast right now,
Okay.
even. So
Okay. So it was kind of a fun story. I had a cat that has asthma, and then there's some weird US pharmaceutical like monopoly. The same medication costs like a third the price from Canada. So I started buying Bitcoins to buy like medication for my cat. That's how I got
oh
into
my
like
god, that's an epic
yeah.
origin story.
And the funny part was Bitcoin was on like a trajectory of going up. Like I bought $100 of Bitcoins, spent 50 on my cat's medication, and 6 months later, the remaining $50 became $100 again. I repeated that 3 to 4 times. Like I felt like, wow, Bitcoin is that like infinite supply for my cat's asthma medication. So I also got interested because our CEO, previous company CEO, was a big fan of Bitcoin. So I started mining Ethereum. Basically, I started mining for crypto on my own around 2015. It's just out of curiosity. I think most people got into crypto this way. Like they're curious about what this thing is. They started like started mining, started like writing code. And I also organized a small hackathon in my previous company where we built Ethereum on like Twitter on Ethereum. We built a small prototype where you can publish tweets to the Ethereum chain, and we modified the Twitter frontend to render tweets both from Twitter and from the Ethereum blockchain. It was a really fun like hackathon project. That's how I got into Web3. In general, the way I look at it, what I really liked about Web3 engineering is that right now I see that individuals have a lot of power to build. I see a lot of very successful Web3 projects built by very small teams. There's this inspiring story that I talk about from time to time, which is there's this website called hegic.co, hegic.co, and it was started by like one person. She's anonymous. We don't know it's a he or she. That person claims that it's a she, and then she built this product almost single-handedly by herself. She used to be a front-end engineer without crypto background. She learned how to write smart contracts, and she built this product now powers like basically options like puts and calls on Ethereum. And the cumulative trade volume is like over 500 million at this point. And it started by one person. And you rarely see that type of phenomenon outside of the Web3 field right now. If you go into traditional engineering, easily like a backend team, like building any sort of meaningful product will is like a team of about 7 to 10 people. That's one thing I really liked about Web3 because these blockchains provide the infrastructure, and building products on top of them becomes really, I wouldn't say easy, but it becomes much easier compared to the traditional world where instead of you have to build a backend that scales, these blockchains like Ethereum, it provides a backend for you to build cool products on top of. Yep. That's my answer for why Web3 engineering
Yo,
is so
guys,
cool.
if you need to feed your cat, you're in the right place, guys. Do not leave Web3. Your cat is finna get fed. I'm certain of this thing. All right, Ben, can you let us know what you're doing for Web3? Why you never leave? How is it taking care of you?
Absolutely. I started my recruiting journey working for a big company. They had a few thousand employees. I was an internal. Realized that isn't the environment I wanted to be in. So I went and worked for a few startups for a couple of years. I think the unfortunate reality at all of these sort of traditional companies I worked at, one was like a recruiting agency. We were working with like prop tech and fintech companies. You really are, I found on sort of who you are, what you look like, and second to what James said, I think one of the things I love about this industry, especially recruiting in the space, is you are not judged on any of that rubbish. You are strictly judged on the value you can provide to a team or a company, and again, what you can build and what you can do. So I love that. But yeah, a few years later, I left a startup, joined a crypto job board. I then spent a few months building out this crypto job board and transitioned to working with a few crypto companies as a contractor, just sort of independently recruiting for these crypto startups. Started a bit more and started to do my own research. Again, I was still very fresh at this point, and I think the reason I chose to stay was the innovation I was seeing, especially being a recruiter. It just equaled huge potential for growth, and especially in recruiting. Like I was seeing so much money and so much capital flowing around this industry, but a real shortage of talent. And you mentioned this earlier, that the space hasn't been around for long. You know, there's not a lot of people that actually know what's going on. So if you have that, you're at an advantage. But if you don't and you get involved now, you're at the advantage as well. You know, all of these companies, they've got so much money. You know, there's so much money, no shortage of money flowing around, but there is such a shortage of people and people wanting to work in this space. So, you know, that's why I chose to continue. Eventually had a chat with JK, who's head of business at Stakefish, and our CEO, Chun. You know, the rest is history. I've been at Stakefish for just over a year now, and yeah, I don't plan on leaving anytime soon, and I would definitely never leave this industry.
Are you fired up, guys? You fired up after hearing that? I know that sounded like a lot of you. A lot of you working whatever job you're working right now. None of these mofos are going back. Why would they? I know I'm not. So I thank you, Ben. Thank you, Yi. Excuse me, Grecia and Jim. I just pinned a tweet. I told you about the one that Stakefish posted. I've also written in to read this before you apply to the Stakefish jobs. It is just a Medium post I wrote, not monetized or anything. I just want you to know what's in my head about how to interview. It's actually that easy. I'm hoping that you can feel comfortable when you have conversations with Yi, or with Ben, or with Grecia, or with Jim. Okay, so tap that. It's one of the pinned tweets. How to take the oh shit out of interviewing in 3 easy steps, and that's for real. All right. Additionally, look at the pinned tweet with the Stakefish jobs. Okay, I think they have their own little URL for this, but I'm gonna tell you mine: bankless.cc/jobs, and you'll see the Stakefish jobs. 5 of them out of the many that they're going to be posting on their own site are available here on the Bankless job board. Okay. One of many companies that are hiring like crazy right now, despite, you know, you think it's bearish out there. They don't. They were smart with how they move, and they're excited to keep growing in a time when it's, you know, most important to grow. I think the biggest teams that are going to win in any market is the teams that are winning in a bear market, like Stakefish. Does anybody from Stakefish want to round us out here, punctuate this little spaces that we've had? We've had fun for this last hour, and I want to make sure that people know exactly what you want them to know before they go.
Yeah, thanks again, Michael, Joni. I'll sort of wrap up my contribution now. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we are hiring across the board. You know, if you feel you're passionate, you're talented, you're interested in what we're doing, you can check out the Bankless job board. We've got 5 of our jobs open there. /jobs. We have a load of other vacancies posted on that site as well. You can check out our website, have a bit of a read through. We've got a really cool glossary at the bottom of the page as well. So if you're new to crypto, check out the glossary, load of keywords, you can do some research. And if you don't see a role that is, you know, very relevant, I said earlier, feel free to send me an email, ben@stake.fish. We'll be more than happy to have a conversation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ben. I also want to highlight how anyone applying, how personal this is. Really, I mean, you're not just submitting your application into the cloud and hoping, you know, you get an auto-generated email. Ben is literally telling you can email him directly. You can just send your, you know, your tweets, the projects you've been working on, and I think that is really unique to Web3. I think that's like something that we want to really keep and maintain in this space, and I'm excited for people, and I really hope that one of you guys gets these jobs, and let us know when you do.
Oh yeah, that'd be hot. Sorry, I was on mute. That would be super hot. DM these. Don't even email him. That's boomer, bro. You asked me. They didn't say this, but I'm saying it. DM these guys. They're right here. Look at Ben's profile. Click that. Smash the envelope button. Smash Jim's envelope button. Smash Grecia's envelope button. Smash Yee's envelope button. Talk about cats with Yee. All right. The one con, okay, the one con of working at Stakefish is that they on Slack. Everything else, major dub. Okay, that's what it sounded like today on this hour. Um, and I mean that respectfully and with love. That's it today, guys. I hope you learned something. All right. A lot of you are going to be like, wow, that was cool, and then not do anything about it. I'm not happy with you. For the people that are going to go make it happen, smash the apply buttons, DM me, DM Ben, DM Yee, good for you. That's what this is for. That's why it was free. All right. But a lot of you are going to treat it like it was free and keep moving. All right. I hope that you don't. I hope that you have a great day, great week. Thank you, Stakefish. Right, go to their platform, go to their website, go to their jobs. Yeah, and let's piece it out with some music. Anybody